Good morning, everybody. Morning. Welcome to Co-op Congress 2026. It's brilliant to see so many of you here back in Birmingham and fantastic to be at the East Side rooms. We hope you enjoy the next couple of days. I'm just going to do a little bit of quick housekeeping, as always. I love this venue. There is going to be a fire alarm today at 3:45 during the afternoon break. So on this, as long as it's 3:45, you do not need to evacuate. If it's at any other point during the day, please follow the Co-operatives UK team to the muster point outside. Should the alarms go off, the exit is at the main door at the front of the building, and the muster point's at the side of the building. So today, as always, we've got our content team, our photographer Jazz, Birmingham local there, our social media team, we've got Amrit and Hannah, there's Amrit, Sam and our very own apprentice Hannah. So you've got any issues being included in any photos or video content that will be going out on our socials and website, please let a member of the staff know or let Amrit or Jazz know as well, and they'll make sure that you're not on any of that. The full programme is online and you can scan the QR code as well, so it's available digitally. You might have noticed that Co-op Congress isn't the only significant event taking place today. Just over the other side of the Atlantic has also just got underway. So there's lots of football energy going on and some synergy. FIFA is, after all, a member-based organisation. And like at the World Cup and today, the Scottish have made it here, so thank you for joining us. But unlike FIFA's World Cup, we've allowed everyone else in, kept the ticket prices down, and the water on the table is free, so do help yourself. I suspect our governance experts at Co-operatives UK might have one or two recommendations for FIFA after the events coming up. So thankfully, we have done everything we can to keep Congress accessible, affordable and focused on what matters. Like I say, with this going out live online for those that couldn't make it, and it is available to watch after. But bringing this movement together is what we're all about, sharing ideas, challenging ourselves and celebrating the difference that cooperatives make. So that leads me neatly onto our sponsor who make all of that possible. Congress simply would not be possible on this scale, broadcasting as well in this venue with this programme without the generous sponsorship and support of the Cooperative Bank. So before we go any further, I want to say a heartfelt thank you and introduce Andrea Melville, the CEO of the Cooperative Bank. Thank you.
Right, good morning everybody. Thank you for having me. It's a real privilege to be here with you today at Congress. So I joined the Cooperative Bank just over a year ago, and it has really been such a fascinating period of time. I've had a huge opportunity to speak to so many colleagues, to so many customers, and to also members of the cooperative sector. And I'm definitely still learning. But what has struck me is this. There is a real quiet confidence within this sector. Not always loud, not always visible, but deeply rooted and incredibly powerful. And more than anything, that for me means that this is really a movement. At the Cooperative Bank, we don't see ourselves separate from that. We see ourselves as part of it. Our history is intertwined with the cooperative movement and with the Cooperative Wholesale Society, through which we were founded over 150 years ago. The movement has fundamentally and undeniably shaped who we are. And that does something important. It doesn't just give us a story, it gives us a standard to live up to. Because being part of this movement has always challenged us to think differently about banking and to act differently too. And for the last 18 months, we've been part of the Coventry Building Society Group, one of the largest financial services mutuals in the country, grounded in the same principles of member value, long-term thinking, and shared success. We talk a lot about difference within financial services, and working part of a broader group has strengthened our ability to serve, combining the scale and resilience of a leading building society with the distinct ethical heritage of the cooperative bank. But the test isn't really about what we say internally. It's whether customers experience that difference consistently and in ways that matter to them. Do they notice it? Do they value it? And most importantly, do they trust it? And when I speak to our customers, the answer is yes. They choose us because of what we stand for, and they stay with us because we follow through. They see a bank without shareholders, where profits are reinvested into customers, into services, and into capability. That mutual ownership model matters because it means we exist for members and customers and not for shareholders. And that alignment gives us the freedom to invest in better outcomes over the long term. They see a bank where ethics aren't an overlay, it's not window dressing, it's built in. And that clarity of purpose is something that we've inherited directly from this movement. In fact, it has shaped something even bigger for us. We have a new group purpose, and that is powering good with every pound. And that sort of sounds simple to say, but it carries a real weight because it means every decision has to do more than deliver financial returns. It has to deliver positive impact for the people we serve, the communities we operate in, and the broader economy. And that's not a new idea in this room, but it is something we're really focusing on trying to scale through a modern financial services model. What brings us together in the Coventry Building Society Group is a shared belief that financial services should do more, not just function well, but actively contribute to the lives of the people and the communities in which we serve. And that's why our commitment to the cooperative movement is practical, not just philosophical. Since 2016, we have committed over £3.5 million to support cooperative partnerships with Co-operative UK through the Business Support for Co-ops programme. That support has helped thousands of organisations start and grow, turning ideas into sustainable businesses and strengthening local economies along the way. 2 organisations in the West Midlands who have benefited from this programme are in the room with us today. So firstly, Kings Heath Community Centre in Birmingham, which offers vital community space to local communities from preschool to youth clubs and to food banks. With help from the business support for the cooperative programme, the centre formed as a community benefit society and is supported through the development of a community share offer, which is raising finance to secure and revitalise the centre through community ownership. And secondly, 5 Senses. It's a creative cooperative supporting the wellbeing and integration of UK Hong Kongers through arts, culture and community connection. Working with local communities, they work to reduce isolation and show that people have more in common than divides us. Through business support for co-ops program, 5 Senses has helped to develop an operating model suited to its purpose, to build networks, strengthen reputation and establish themselves as a credible community-led organisation. For us, the business support program is a clear expression of our role to enable cooperation, not just advocate for it. And we can all look forward to hearing from both of those organisations later in today's program. Looking ahead, there is a real opportunity here. The government's ambition to double the size of the cooperative and mutual sector is significant. But achieving this ambition will require an infrastructure investment, and that includes finance. Because cooperatives need banking partners who understand their model, who share their long-term outlook and who are designed to support sustainable growth, not short-term extraction. That's why banking cooperatives and mutual institutions remain so important. And that's why we're here today and proud to support Congress. At the same time, we are very focused on the future. Customer expectations are changing quickly. So we are investing in how we show up and how we serve. Building a bank that is digital first, but human always. Using technology to simplify, reduce friction and increase access, but making sure that we never lose the human judgment and support that people rely on, especially in moments that matter. Because ultimately, what we're helping people to do hasn't changed. It's about managing money, building security, and planning for the future. What's changing is how we enable it and how well we do it. And that thinking extends into the products we offer. Whether it's our Charities and Communities account, designed for organisations making a difference locally, or our Customer Donation Fund, which provides direct support to causes that matter, including cooperatives. These are practical ways we can ensure that finance actively contributes to stronger communities. I also want to briefly acknowledge heritage, because it matters. The cooperative movement and the bank's place within it has a long and important history. But for us, that history isn't something we preserve for its own sake. It's something we apply. We take the principles of fairness, share valued and long-term thinking, and we use them to guide how we operate in a modern context. And in doing that, we make sure the movement remains relevant and impactful today. There's no question that this is a challenging environment for customers, for communities and for organisations. But it is also a moment of opportunity, because the characteristics that people are looking for, trust, transparency and fairness, are exactly the ones this sector is built on, and that gives us something strong to build from. So I'll finish with this. The cooperative movement has never stood still. It has adapted, evolved and grown while staying true to its core principles. And our job now is to continue that, to take those principles, to apply them into today's world and to ensure they really deliver impact at scale. As a combined group, we have a real opportunity and a responsibility to demonstrate how mutual and cooperative models can deliver at scale in today's economies. And at the Cooperative Bank, we're really proud to play our part in that, and we look forward to continuing to work alongside all of you as we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrea. And I just wanted to make a comment about that business support piece, because there has been no national business support from the government for cooperatives for a long time. And it's down to the Cooperative Bank's investment in the last 10 years into those networks for business support. We do have the Economic Secretary coming later, and we've got members of the Department for Business with us over the weekend. But it's really key that we have this specialist business support. So just a huge thanks for the difference that you've made in that. It's been absolutely fantastic. So it is wonderful to be here in Birmingham, the second city after Manchester, obviously. And I'm delighted now to introduce to the stage the former Chief Executive of Manchester Council, but now the Managing Director of Birmingham City Council, Joanne Roney.
Well, we're not going to start by falling out, are we, Rose Marley? Second city, no argument on that one. I'm really, really delighted to be here and to open this Congress here in Birmingham. This is a city that has a long history of leading, actually, social reform, bringing people together and wanting to change our communities for the better. Birmingham has always been a great city, and during the Industrial Revolution was actually at the heart of kind of massive change, industry change, growth in the city. And with that, brought those challenges for working people. Now, it is the challenges that started to bring this movement together, the cooperative movement together. And Birmingham has always played an important role in the UK of working in support of the cooperative. And we had a couple of examples mentioned earlier, and there's more happening in the city jointly between us, and I think that's fantastic. During the 19th and the 20th centuries, the city really started to build its social movement. And I was reflecting last night on the fact that Birmingham was once described as the best led local authority on earth. We're aiming to get back to that. We have a few challenges, but we're on our way. But it is that sense of civic pride and civic duty that is actually what binds us together in this city, despite the challenges we face. And that is entirely aligned with everything that is in the spirit of the cooperative movement and is in the spirit of this city. We are all committed to working together and to find a better way to make a difference to the lives of the people who live in this city. When I say these things, when I stand here, I always reflect on the fact that as a chief executive and managing director, you can appear as if you're reading from a script rather than a personal ambition and a passion. And I was just introducing myself to colleagues on the table, and I thought I'd just share with you that these aren't just words, empty words. These are personally held values and beliefs of a number of us in leadership within the city. Myself personally, as Rose just said, was actually, prior to coming to Birmingham, I was the chief executive of that small village up north called Manchester. But I was having a very successful time in a very successful city. But I owe my life to Birmingham City Council. It was the council that took me as a 16-year-old apprentice from Shard End and gave me the career that I've had and the opportunities that I had. It is the civic infrastructure of this city that supports my family through their most difficult times. So whilst I was having a wonderful time in Manchester, and I think Manchester is a fantastic city before I'm misquoted, I felt it was my personal duty to return to my city that gave me so much and to see what I could do to add to its improvement journey and bring it back to being the city that we should all feel proud of. And I think, therefore, that what the cooperative movement stands for has to be lived and owned and believed by civic leaders, and I wanted to bring that here, which is why I'm so pleased to open it. I'm also really pleased to do the next thing that I'm challenged to do, which is to introduce your next speaker. During my time in Manchester, 3 weeks into post, the arena bomb occurred. That incident occurred. I will pay tribute to Rose Marley at this point. 3 weeks new into job, Rose reached out. We clearly were dealing with a phenomenally difficult, extraordinary, appalling incident, and we were clear that we needed to show that this city was united in its response, and who better to lead us in that space than partners in this room. What you may not recall is that we were in the middle of a general election, so we were organising a vigil to bring people together because Manchester and wider wanted to come together and show its solidarity as a city. I had what's called a career-defining moment when I had to tell the leader of the council that he couldn't speak at the vigil because we were in a pre-election period. I had to tell the Prime Minister that they couldn't speak as we were in. So who could speak for Manchester with the eyes of the world on us to show how committed we were as a city to not be divided in the most difficult of circumstances and to show unity, civic coming together, civic pride and support for one another? Who could do it? There was only one person that we thought who could do it, and that is the person that I will introduce now. You will have seen him globally stand there and deliver a poem that talked about the place in Manchester and had a defining moment that set the tone for how the city would respond and come together, that defined Manchester in a way that I don't think anybody else could have done. So I was also very pleased not just to welcome you all to my amazing city, and I hope you have a fantastic time here and get the spirit of Birmingham in your hearts as you leave, and maybe also put on social media that it's not as bad as everybody might think it is, which I'd be very grateful for. But I also wanted to very personally introduce you to the outstanding Tony Walsh. Thank you. Have a great conference.
Good morning, Congress. Are we well? I was really quite composed over there till Joanne started. I'm having a bit of a moment here. It's great to be here in Birmingham. After much debate in Manchester about where Britain's second city is, we have decided it's London. So that's That's the end of that one. Thank you, Joanne, for that wonderful introduction, and to Rose for the invitation today. I'm really glad to be here. I'm a poet myself, as you've heard. It's great that you're inviting a little piece of culture along to your wonderful congress here. That must make you some pretty serious culture vultures, would I be right? Yeah, I appreciate it. I know it's hard to be a culture vulture and a counter-culture vulture culture, but if we counter the counter-culture culture, we can culture more culture vultures altogether. Now it's hard to be... Well, thank you. That doesn't normally happen, that's good. I hope you've had a better start to your day than I have. I was enjoying my yoghurt this morning and I realised it tasted quite strange. I put ketchup in my yoghurt. I don't recommend that as a new co-op range. But it's really great to be here. I have a poem to share with you. A poem I wrote a number of years ago, hoping that it could be something of a rallying cry, a battle hymn for the cooperative movement. Let me give you a little bit of the background story to that. In about 2018, 2019, I was invited to perform at something called Rochdale Festival of Literature and Ideas. And I was booked to perform in a huge, almost a cathedral of a church called the Church of the Baum, B-A-U-M. And they asked me would I write something? They commissioned me to write something about Rochdale specifically. And I said yes, and I was looking for my angle. And I realised that the church was right next to Toad Lane, right next to the museum, right next to where this global cooperative movement was founded. And I thought, of course, that's my angle. When you drive into Rochdale off the motorway, if you've ever done that, there's a bridge over the road and there's a great 50, 60-foot long banner thing that says, "Welcome to Rochdale, the birthplace of cooperation." What a great and grand claim for a borough to make. Just next door is Oldham, and when you enter Oldham, it says, "Welcome to Oldham, the home of the tubular bandage." And these things are important. There's a bit of a Springfield Shelbyville thing going on there, but you know, these things are important. So I decided to write about the Rochdale pioneers in, of course, the place where the whole global movement was founded. And I was aided in that, motivated in that I worked for the co-op myself when I was 13. I lied about my age, said I was 14, and worked in a co-op retail store in Denton in Greater Manchester, where I'm from. And that's so near to Rochdale, about 5 or 6 miles, that it was in the Norwest Pioneers group. So I gained an understanding of it from there, and of course in the Northwest, and particularly in those times, the footprint of the co-op was huge all around the buildings, and people talked of the divvy. Older people said the co-op. There was a lot of talk of the co-op. So I was really happy to write about that. I shared the poem at my performance. It was well received, and people there from the cooperative movement wanted to do bits and pieces with it. But I was keen to keep my powder dry on it and to properly place it within the movement in the hope that, as I say, it could be something of a rallying cry. And that's what today is. I've been talking to Rose, and we've made a video of the poem, which you'll see after today. A line from the poem is the strap line for the conference, Cooperate and We Can Change the World. And after this co-op fortnight, if you want to use the poem, if you want to book me to perform it, if you want to license it in some way, then let's talk and let's try and embed this thing and do the task that it's written to do. I'm going to share it in a moment. In this scary world, it talks about those co-op principles that we've heard about of equality and equity and justice and fairness, education, support, trust, self-help, cooperation, and that word love, used unashamedly at the end of my poem in Manchester when, off the cuff, I said, choose love. And in many ways, they were the most important words I said, unscripted. And, in these dark times, that's a real principle that we need to be using to guide us. And this poem starts in many ways with a love story, perhaps two love stories. It starts with love in a community sense of the founders and those founding principles. We've got a rich language, haven't we? Perhaps the richest in the world, but it lacks enough words for love. Many cultures have words for different types of love. And it came from a community love, a communal love, a civic love. But it also starts with a romantic love story. In 1954, a couple called Annie and Frank Maskew, M-A-S-K-E-W, met in Rochdale Library and bonded over a love of literature and philosophy and high ideas and high ideals. And Frank died first, and Annie lived on until 2006. I don't think did they have children? I'm not quite sure. But they left a considerable legacy to the borough of Rochdale for the long-term promotion of high ideas and high ideals, literature and philosophy. And the council had a debate on how to use that money, and there's an incredible 50-year legacy, £1,000 a year to top up a high-end literature collection for the people of Rochdale, and a considerable sum for a festival each year promoting literature and philosophy. And what a great thing to leave as your legacy. I'm going to share the poem in a moment. It's called This Beautiful Idea. At the end, I don't want you to clap for me. I want you to raise the roof and set the tone for the rest of this Congress and for the rest of this year going forward. I want you to clap loud and long for the founders of this glorious movement. I want you to clap loud and long for the founding principles. I want you to raise the roof so the team back at base hear you. I want you to send a message to this global movement from these cities where this thing was founded. I want you to raise the roof for Annie and Frank Maskew and their love story, and I want you to raise the roof for love itself. Let's have a little bit of practice. Show me what you got, Congress. That was about a 4, guys. Let's see if we can get to a 10 when I finish my poem. The poem is called This Beautiful Idea. From poverty and drudgery they came. They rose as one with skills to match ideals, ignited by a visionary flame, to trade in change and sell a brand new deal. Weave equity, democracy and fight for training so that folk may help themselves. Show unity, community has might with goodness, fairness, hope placed on the shelves. With honesty, equality for all, stood principle. These principles unfurled till hundreds, thousands, millions heard their call. Cooperate, and we can change the world. And now, 1 billion members standing tall across the globe, united, how we've grown. We're national, international, one and all. Our ownership lifts up our own. In times that test our strength to show we care. 2 letters here know better, spelling cooperatives, communities that share, communicate compassion, co-op show. This simple, noble, beautiful idea. Your neighbour is your comrade, is your friend. For this, we toast the Rochdale pioneers with love, perhaps their greatest dividend. Thank you. Let's hear it for those guys. 150 years of cooperation, a global movement, everybody back at base, the founding fathers, the founding people, the founding communities, this global movement, this beautiful idea. Thank you, Congress. Have a wonderful couple of days and best of luck to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Tony. What an amazing way to start Congress. That poem captures so much of what this movement is about. And that line, cooperate and we can change the world, that's not just a tribute to our past, that's a challenge to all of us in this room today. The Rochdale pioneers do not simply have a beautiful idea. They built it, they organised it, they shared ownership, they created power where people had been denied. And that is why this movement at this time still matters so profoundly now. When people are asking for who the economy is really for, cooperatives have the answer. At a time when communities are asking how they take back control, cooperatives have the answer. And at a time when people need fairness, voice, security, hope and practical solidarity, cooperatives have the answer. It's in the businesses you run, the members you serve, the jobs you create and the services you protect, the communities you strengthen and the choices you make every day to do business differently. So please, let's carry the spirit of Tony's poem into the rest of Congress, and indeed into Co-op Fortnight, where we will aim to change the world and really amplify our message. So before we get into the next session, and if you are staying here in this room, you are in for a very special session. We have the power. We'll be talking about how cooperatives are already changing the world. And that will be with Tony Walsh, Julie Hesmondale, Martina Murphy and Lisa Trickett. So if you need to go, or if you're going to any of the other sessions on the first floor, we've got a breakout session with one of our policy team on influencing Co-operative UK's policy agenda, another on increasing the visibility of cooperation in sport and leisure. So wherever you're heading to next, like I say, please go with that beautiful idea ringing in your ears.